What's going on YouTube? Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's staying safe. Hope everybody's off to a great week. And it's Friday, early Friday. Before we get into the video, there's a few things that I need to say up front. I want to take this opportunity to apologize. Video that I did, I was basically venting. If you look at the title, I had a couple. I don't know what do you want to call them? Trolls, um, come in the stream, kind of really disrupt the flow of my video, and I want to take the opportunity to apologize for that. One thing that I really try to pride myself on when I make content, regarding different things, current events, sports, is that at the end of the day, it's just an opinion. Um, It's my opinion. We can agree to disagree. We can be diverse in thinking. But like I said, I am not the kind of person that is going to respond to ignorant ass goofy comments. Plain and simple. The comment's going to be deleted and the channel will be blocked. Plain and simple. This channel, I'm all for having conversation, but you miss me with that bullshit. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So again, I want to take this opportunity to just apologize for that. As you see the title of this video, I want to start off by saying this. I really think, in my personal opinion, with the WNBA, we need to really give them the credit that and the respect that they deserve. And just stay with me when I say that. When you look at this documentary, first and foremost, let's give a big shout out to Chiney Ogwumike. If she didn't speak up at ESPN and say, "Hey, listen, we got to create we got to have a story on this, a documentary," because these were 144 women, 12 teams in one bubble, or as they call it, the Wubble. And as you've seen in the documentary, if you didn't, I'm pretty sure most likely it'll be re-air again. I know a couple people said it was on ESPN Plus, but the biggest thing that I took away is, at the end of the day, we have to take a step back and understand that they're human. They're human just like you and I are. When I missed the first 5 minutes of it, but you can see as the documentary progressed, there's a couple of things that I took from it. One, the fact that they did not they played 20 straight days without having a day off. You saw a lot of injuries. Dearica Hemby was an example. Others sat out. For example, Liz Cambridge for the Las Vegas Aces sat out due to health concerns. Natasha Cloud for the Washington Mystics sat out. She wanted to partake in, protesting. But as I'm watching the documentary, some of these players, some of these women in the league are moms. There was a couple brothers there, fathers that, other family members to help them, while they're playing, while they're doing their thing. But as you saw, as it was progressing, you could see each day the way it was, how their story was told. You could see the stress. You could see the tension. You could see it. For example, it was There was a scene with the Atlanta Dream. And I think they were like on a 10-game, I believe if I'm saying this right, they were on a 10-game losing streak. And Nikki Cohen, who's now the coach at University of Baylor, they're having a film session, and Courtney Williams, who's the point guard, kind of said, I'm basically paraphrasing it. She's basically saying if there's a shot, I'm taking that shot. Pretty much, plain and simple. Nako Ogwumike, who is she's the voice. She's like Chris Paul. She's the voice for all the players. You can see her being not only star power forward for the Los Angeles Sparks, but having the responsibility of being a voice for the other women within the league. I think what stood out to me was when with Breonna Taylor, then it was George Floyd. You began to see they really just that's again goes back to the tension piece. Some of them didn't want to be there. I believe, if I remember correctly, I know Brittany Griner was actually down there and kind of left. I think that was like after a couple of months due to mental health concerns. Keep in mind, they were in the bubble from, I want to say it was May, if I'm saying that right. I know they were in there till about the early part of September. So they're July 24th. That's when they started. Excuse me. So you see, every day they have to be tested, practice, and trying to just be having just a normal, just trying to just keep their sanity in the bubble. That's what I took from it. They had multiple activities they were doing. But you could tell a lot of them didn't want to be there. You could tell body language for sure. I think the biggest thing what stood out to me, I'm going to the protest, that's when you started to see where they felt like where they were powerless to do anything. The same thing with the WNBA, with the NBA, when it came to LeBron, Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. Same thing with the NBA. When Jacob Blake, and I'm going to reference, and then I'm going to remember to leave that video in the description. When that video, we all saw him, he was shot 7 times in the back. I personally believe that was the powder keg that set off a chain to where these 144 women had to make a choice. There was a couple of scenes, and one of them I'm going to share. The first one was the Mystics versus the Atlanta Dream, and I had that game too, and I was ready to watch the game, and it was canceled. You see Leilani Mitchell, Errol Atkins, Elizabeth Williams for the Atlanta Dream, Lonnie Mitchell and Errol Atkins for the Mystics. But you see them outside the locker room kind of like, okay, what do we do? Are we going to play? Or are we not going to play? So it's Maisha Hines-Allen and Lonnie Mitchell. They go to the Atlanta Dream, and they're basically saying, we're not going to play. We're just not going to do it. There was a kind of one scene in that whole part where, like in I call it the hallway, when you get to the gym, to the court. It's Tiana Hawkins, who's now with the Atlanta Dream, and her son asked, "Why are you crying?" And her response was, "You wouldn't understand." I didn't really. To me, that part where she said that it bothered me from the standpoint I understand he's too young to understand what's going on, and I want to give a shout, and I want to give a shout out to her fiance for stepping in there for saying, "Hey, listen, this is what's going on." Blah 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 blah. I just think again it was just an emotional moment because they had to make a choice. Unfortunately, we live in this society where, particularly when it comes to politics, we unfortunately we have to talk about it. It's in every discussion, whether we like it or not. For example, if you look at the video I did with Sean Spencer from Let's Talk Football. What happened with the Major League Baseball All-Star game, moving from Atlanta to Denver. And again, they had to cancel. They had to postpone the games. My only problem, and this is where the next clip's going to come in. So you saw they came out. Elizabeth Williams made the statement, basically just saying, "Listen, we're not playing. What's been going on these past few months. Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, now Jacob Blake. We're not playing. We're just not." Now, what happens in the next scene is where all the ladies reconvene. And that's where I'm going to play the clip. Hold on. This is, let me share my screen. This is Courtney Williams for the Atlanta Dream. This was the scene where Nika Gumike, it was a players only meeting. So they're basically talking about, how does everybody feel about today, about when they made that decision about postponing their games.
But I just think we need to start thinking of ourselves as our own league. Makes our own decisions.
I'm gonna just be honest. If we're gonna be honest and put it all on the table, I came in this bitch, I get paid. You know what I mean? I feel like that's Breonna Taylor died and George Floyd died, and we still came in this bitch and decided to dribble basketball. That's the decision that we made as a whole. These people died, and we still decide to come dribble basketball. So now Jacob Blake, and now all of a sudden we're like, oh, let's not dribble a ball no more. Like, now we just had a crazy big epiphany to not dribble the ball no more. I don't think it's. I'm not saying no shade towards y'all. I'm just saying this is just my own opinion on it, my outlook. I'm just saying, to me personally, like I didn't want to come here. Like I didn't. I feel like to me it hit so hard and home. I didn't want to come here, but I came here because I know I got to feed. People eat off of me, like you know what I mean. So I decided to come in here. To me, I didn't come here like, oh, power to the people, let me come here to make a stand. I could have did that at the crib. You know what I mean? I came here to get a check. So I'm just saying, like, it's cool, yeah, we can kumbaya all day, all night, but we got to come up with something. Right now, it seems like we're talking in circles. I'm not willing to give up my check because that's the only reason why I'm here. We decided to come in here and dribble a ball and make our voice be heard. So now we decide we don't want to dribble no ball no more, and now we lose our platform, and now what? Now we're looking like Wubble fools. So if we're going to have a real conversation, let's have it.
And right there, I thought that's really where the documentary to me became more powerful. Again, I'm going to reference the video that I did in the aftermath of what happened. The question that I asked, and I didn't really get an answer. What was the next step? What was the plan? Were you saying we're just postponing? Were you canceling the games because they were just postponed? Because to me, when your message is not united, postponing a game is not going to change the mind of a racist person's mind. Oh, they canceled the game. I'm not going to be a racist tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. When you saw that scene, you can kind of see the body language, like, what is she talking about? X, Y, and Z. The biggest thing, and again, same thing, when the season started, they committed to playing. It's all a choice. She didn't have to play. Neither of those other 143 women as well. They didn't have to play. But I understood what she's saying, because at the end of the day, wait a minute. Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, now Jacob Blake, now all of a sudden we want to come together and cancel the games. I understood where she was coming from, because I was kind of saying the same thing. Well, why all of a sudden, let's just cancel, let's just postpone the games. And then to me, the message gets lost when, again, it's not united. There was, in that scene, it's Natalie, I'm going to say her, if I pronounce her name right, Ochoa, now for the Minnesota Lynx. She played for the Indiana Fever last season, where she was like, well, Indiana's not playing. We decided we're not going to play tomorrow. And then, to me, what was kind of mind-boggling was that when Sue Bird asked, well, who's playing tomorrow? And that's where I was like, see, and that's where I was kind of like, I just felt like that scene showed where there was no united. There was unity, but it was it was a lot of people talking in circles. No matter what, and I said the same thing in the LeBron James video when I was talking about what happened to Ma'Khia Bryant. Everyone was saying, well, this is why Michael Jordan's a better athlete than LeBron. Understand, Michael Jordan didn't have Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Social media was different than what it is now in 2021. Technology has grown since then. And what these women did, they used their platform to send a message, even though I really felt like some of those women in that bubble felt powerless. They couldn't do anything. So I thought that was a very, very interesting scene where she said, people eat off my check, so I decided to come here. To me, I didn't come here like, oh, power to the people. Let me come here to make a stance. I could have did that at the crib. Again, it's all a choice. And I kind of felt like the people that were on Twitter were kind of like, I thought it was a little disrespectful. You have to understand where she was coming from. The same thing in Major League Baseball, for example. Buster Posey sat out last year. Ian Desmond sitting out again this year. NFL, there's a couple guys that sat out. It's all about a choice. But when you have that kind of platform, understand it has to be united. It has to be united. That's why I'm a firm believer in political organization. Because suppose 6 of the teams for the WNBA, let's 6 of them, because it's 12. Let's say 6 of them said we're not going to play, but the other say 6 we are. The message gets lost. The platform collapses. But let me get off that box. I just wanted to show that scene. I thought it was very powerful. A very powerful scene there. There was another scene where it was Natalie Ochoa. She was talking about her husband, her boyfriend. Something about the police coming to the door, because I guess the community that they live in, when you live in a nice community, you're gonna have people going, "Oh, how did they get that house?" Unfortunately, that's just the way we live in. I don't like it. You earned it. You earned it. Listen, again, that's why I'm all about, making sure that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You don't live above your means. She said they live in a nice community, but she was worried because her husband, she said, and it stuck with me. She said, "Did you tell him that you're black and you're 6'3"? And it was kind of like, wow. That was a very, very kind of chilling scene, because You could look at the emotions on her face. She didn't want to be there. It just when you look at the whole documentary, you see the trials and tribulations that they went through. Again, these are all they're like little personal diaries. Again, some of them are mothers. Deerica Hemby, when she came out and said, I feel alone in this. Like that's telling. There was, again, like I said, let you know where their mindset was. You know, but it's again, what I took from it was they persevered. They they wanted to let I just saw a lot of stories that needed to be told. Let me say it like that. You know, I have said this and I'm on the record for saying it. My platform is different from LeBron James's platform, Kevin Durant's platform. You know, when they say when you don't, and I said this in the video I did back in the last summer, and I was a little frustrated because the social media influencers, you know, were, to me, they weren't part of the solution, they were part of the problem, because all they were doing was trying to get their brand up and not look at the bigger picture, not look at the message. And what you see was here are 144 women saying, this is our league. Let's do this. We got to thank Holly Rowe. She said she was the only person that didn't have any camera crews and anything. She said she had to use an iPad. I'm gonna leave the reaction with Jalen Jacoby. She was with Jalen Jacoby, and could you imagine if they decided we're not going to play this year, we're not going to do it? Could you imagine you know, with all they had to endure for that time? I really don't. I don't know how these women did it. I really don't. But again, I think it was they depended on each other. They lifted each other up, and this is a great example of using what they're doing to bring awareness. And let's call it what it is. Let's keep it real, y'all. Because, you know, I've seen the videos of everybody clowning the WNBA, and, you know, it's not this, it's not that. It grew 67% of audience. The audience grew by 67%. They were a part of fundamental change with this previous election, with particularly in Georgia. The Atlanta Dream ousted their former owner, now Renee Montgomery, who now shares ownership of the Atlanta Dream. They even had Breonna Taylor's mom on there, and I thought that was nice. You know, She and the city of Louisville settled. So these women played a part in making the fun and being part of that change. And again, to me, like I said, they covered it. How they handled the pandemic. I thought the testing was a bit too much. I think we have to get tested every day. And on top of that, they showed the scene. It was like it was a Storm versus the Aces, and they had to postpone. I think like a game. They had to postpone the game a couple of days because three players supposedly like tested like the way the testing was, and they were questioned, and unfortunately they were cleared with additional testing. And at the end of it all, the Seattle Storm, congratulations, y'all not gonna win this year. Y'all not gonna win the chip. So go Mystics. Um, at the end, you just kind of saw this relief on their faces. You know, some of them were happy, some of them were sad. They really felt like I got through this. I'm going home. um, that was the only thing that was kind of like wow, like okay. Because again, here's a bubble that's pretty much considered the norm, you know. But I feel like here's 144 women that had to choose. Do I go down there and play and use my platform to create awareness of racial injustices and helping my league grow? Because, mind you, 80% of the league, and I learned this a year or two ago, 80% of the WNBA is black. So here it is again. You're dealing with social injustice, motherhood, the pandemic, and then mental health. You can see it. Look, I mean, again, like I said, when they saw the documentary, you're going to see Neko Gumike came out and said she was drained. She was drained. Unfortunately, it was disappointing. I don't even think does she play? Well, she was out the whole playoffs. She was just, I think, just really just mentally, she was just worn out. So I'm looking at this season. You know, yesterday, because it's not Friday, turned 25 years old. You know, I've been a fan of the WNBA for the past few years. I've always been really a fan of the Mystics. Watched the Mystics. I really became more of a fan when Mike Tabal came in as a head coach at GM, and he changed the culture of the franchise. But just seeing a lot of great talent. You know, it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't matter how high the rim is. Can they dunk? If you really watch a game, some of them can play. I mean, again, like we look at March Madness when like Baylor, for example, Maryland, these girls can play. And for 25 years, and the league has shown tremendous growth. And I just feel like I wish there was more as a fan that I can do to help the league grow in some type of way. I mean, watching the games is great, but I feel like there's more that, as fans we could do. But I'm going to leave. I want to leave off with this quote. It was actually from Angel of Culture, and it was really good. Hold on. Let me find it. You know, a lot of people say nothing's changing. What is this going to do? We know that change doesn't happen tomorrow, but when we plant the seeds for a better future, I'm gonna leave that in the description. Um, that to me that was a good quote. The way to end it, because we're planting the seeds. You know, not for today. We're planting the seeds for tomorrow. Next year, we're planting the seeds for the next generation. What's good, Sean? What's good? We're planting this. We're planting these seeds. That way, when the next generation comes in, we can look back and say, "Hey, these guys in the WNBA, NBA, sports doesn't matter. We as a collective people made a collective change where we're getting rid of, you know, we're holding those when we put in these offices accountable, when we're denouncing systemic racism, when we are just being trying to make the world a better place to live in. Those are the seeds we have to continue to plant for today, tomorrow, and for that forever. Plain and simple. I thought that was a great quote. I actually want to give my condolence. I want to send my prayers out to her, Angela McCaultrey. She tore her ACL, MCL, so she's gonna be out for this season. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. And so are you, man. So are you. We're both part of that change. It's just when you looked at this documentary, because again, I was really excited for it. Again, it just in on this, and you know, it's bigger. Again, like I said, if you look at the video that I did, it's bigger than sports. It's bigger than all of us. Here's a world that we're trying to change. You know, again, we just do our little part to change the world. The world's going to be a better place. Plain and simple. And 144, definitely, in my personal opinion, it shows that. But I'm going to leave the Courtney Williams part of her spiel at the players' meeting. The reason why I'm laughing because just the body language, they were kind of looking at her like, man, okay. But I understood it because I said the same thing with the NBA. And I'll leave that video in the description for y'all to see as well. I do hope that I knew it was on ESPN Plus, but I hope at some point they do re-air it. It was really good. WNBA season starts tomorrow. I want to wish these women, nothing but the best. I have the Washington Mystics and the Seattle Storm going to the WNBA finals. Even though right now Elena Deladon is out because she's recovering from back surgery. Emma Masonman, she's still overseas. I got to give a shout out real quick to Lexi Brown because I've been on her show a couple times, and I really hope she does bring it back. I was really upset to find out today she was cut the day before the season by the Chicago Storm. I was really upset about that. But y'all let me know your thoughts about the documentary. What did you think about it? Man, let's have a conversation about this. Unfortunately, again, this was a very great documentary. I hope this is up for an ESPY. I really do. I'll even leave the trailer. Well, we also the trailer, but I think this is great. But just let me know your thoughts. What's coming down the pipe? I'm gonna try to collab with Sean Spencer regarding like the outlook of this upcoming. Where do we have teams? Who's going to win the division? Who's not going to win the division? Am I going to do a video covering the Ravens' schedule? Probably yes. Sean, listen, we could collab on that. That would be great. Let me know. I definitely want to collab on that. Definitely do a video on that. I saw the schedule. Definitely do a video on that. Definitely do a video going into week one after the preseason. We only have 3 preseason games this year, so I think the goal I think how it's going to go next season for the NFL. There's going to just be two preseason games, and it'll be added on another game. So we got 5 primetime games. I cannot believe that. The Washington Mystics. Let me get off the football talk. Let me stick with the Mystics. They play. I predict that the Mystics are going to win. Final score, I'm going to go 67-59. We also, let me see, we had a couple primetime games. Hold on, look at the schedule real quick. Oh, okay. I'll take a look at that. I didn't get a chance to look at it today, but I'll look at it. I'll definitely take a look at it. I'm trying to see how many primetime games we have. Hold on 1 second. I definitely got my eyes on. I got my eyes on a few games. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we got a good. I think we got like almost 15 games. I'm definitely gonna be tuned in for tomorrow. I'm sorry, Saturday. Excuse me. I'm definitely gonna be tuned in for that because that game comes in at 1. Definitely be tuned in for the one against the Phoenix Mercury. Hopefully by then this Mystic team will have all their eggs in one basket. They got Sydney Wise, which was kind of an interesting pickup for the team. I'm only concerned with the Mystics going forward. They're very guard oriented. And again, I think it all depends on health. I really don't. Tina Charles didn't play last year. Elena Deladon didn't play, and Natasha Cloud didn't play. Ariel Powers is with the Minnesota Lynx. Tiana Hawkins is with the Atlanta Dream. So unfortunately, you lose a big chunk. We lose shooters. I liked Lele Coates from South Carolina. I really liked her. I don't know if she'll be back or not. So I think me personally, because again, I think the Mystics go as far as Landella Dawn takes them, and Tina Charles. So I know they're a top 2 team in my personal opinion when healthy. I think the biggest thing is health for the Mystics for sure. My sleeper team, I gotta go with the Dallas Wings. I was kind of with they had the 4th overall pick. I wasn't really too fond of that. I feel like they could have traded that pick and got a star to really play alongside them, but that's neither here nor there. No, I'm sorry. They had the 5th overall pick. I like Charlie Kohler from Texas. She's my rookie of the year. I personally would have taken Dee Richards with that pick because they had the 5th overall pick. I like Chelsea Dungy, but I don't think they don't need more. I need more. They need more. In my opinion, need some inside presence. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so definitely Charlie Collar's my rookie of the year. MVP, ooh. I got to think about that one. Because honestly, anything can happen with this team, but with any of these 12 teams. But that's all I wanted really to say. Let me know what y'all thoughts of the documentary. If you haven't gotten a chance to see it, I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure they will air it. But just let me know y'all general thoughts about the WNBA. What do y'all think about it? After watching the documentary, does it really change your outlook on the WNBA? But yeah, with that being said, I'm out. Peace. Stay out.